It is infuriating when you're arguing with a Jordan fan and they never give you any tangible or cross-examining evidence that you can argue against them about Michael Jordan. 5 MVPs has been done by multiple players, and it is fairly common. Right? For the majority of people, when you control a decade of basketball, like Magic did in the 80s, or
Take it easy, champ. Why don't you stop talking for a while?
Hot off the presses, Jordan is possibly the most overrated player in the history of the NBA. Don't get me wrong now. I don't mean in regard to talent. He's obviously a really good basketball player. I mean, if you consider him the greatest basketball player of all time without a question, like, how can you make the argument that he's the greatest of all time when I can make the argument that he's not the greatest at anything? Right? Let's break it down. Was Jordan the greatest scorer of all time? Nope. That would be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Skyhook and possibly the most unstoppable offensive force the league has ever seen. Outside of maybe Wilt Chamberlain, came close, but he wasn't the player Lou Alcindor / Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was. He ended his career at close to 60% from the floor. Jordan is hovering around 40% from the floor. So he's not the best, most efficient scorer. He's not and he's not the most volume scorer. So here we go. He wasn't the best scorer of all time. Right?
If Kareem is the greatest scorer ever to you, and he has the most MVPs ever, why is LeBron your GOAT? Just a question. Alright, let's break down the bullshit. Number 1, 5 MVPs is not fairly common. Kareem has 6, Bill Russell and MJ have 5. Your GOAT King James has 4. If it was so common, wouldn't he have 5 or more? Number 2, the volume shooter stuff, I'll explain that later because he brings it up again. Number 3, how is 49.7% hovering around 40? Are you really going to act like 0.3% is not way closer to 50% than 40? Now, there's nothing wrong with saying Kareem's the best scorer of all time. That's a great name to throw in the hat. But wouldn't Michael Jordan be a great name to throw in there too? So you're telling me Michael Jordan isn't at least in the conversation for the greatest scorer ever, even though he averages the most points per game ever, even though he has more total points than the monster Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain?
Was he the greatest rebounder? No. Was he the greatest shooter? No, not even close. He was virtually below average from the 3 and relied on his athleticism and mid-range to be a viable offensive threat. Was he the greatest defender? Once again, laughable. Jordan often guarded the 3rd best scorer on the team because he was extremely limited and would generally be man-to-man on the 2nd best guard.
This has got to be one of the oldest narratives ever. Michael Jordan was the primary defender of Magic Johnson, the best point guard ever. Now, did MJ guard MJ the entire series, every single possession? No. Pippen had his moments on him, but long story short, the majority of the series, MJ guarded MJ.
Lonnie Divac, Bill Cartwright, and the opening tip controlled by the LA Lakers as Magic Johnson moves across against Michael Jordan. And back comes Magic Johnson, and the matchup remains with Michael Jordan guarding Johnson, at least here at the start. Phil Jackson telling us at practice yesterday that we might see more of Scottie Pippen matching with Johnson. Best of 7. The series tied at 1. Magic guarding Jordan, who's able to convert on his first field goal attempt.
And the question is answered immediately. Michael Jordan picking up Magic Johnson in the backcourt, pressuring him out here. And I would think that Phil Jackson will play it the same way. Start Jordan on him and then change somewhere along the line.
Phil Jackson telling us that probably would be the plan. Michael Jordan picking up the early fouls and going up against Magic Johnson the other night. Scottie Pippen did a terrific job against Magic. Worthy, yes. T-Rush are the officials. Devonts and Cartwright getting set on the opening tip. And the Lakers control. Byron Scott looking to work his way out of the shooting slump during the course of the finals. 0 for 8 from the field the other day. Magic Johnson finding the opening, and he's given the Lakers a 2-0 lead. Getting his shots. Here's Pippen, and the game is tied at 2.
One of the small subtleties, screening. Try to get somebody open for a screen, set a good pick, set a good screen. One of the things the Lakers need to do better, the Bulls just did it perfectly at their end.
And Michael Jordan opening up against Magic Johnson. Had their ups and downs in the curing department during the final. Lakers control the tip. Magic played by Jordan. Teagle beating Paxson. Yes. Now Cartwright matched with Perkins. And Magic backing Jordan.
I don't mind anybody trying to expose Michael Jordan. Can y'all just tell the damn truth while attempting to do so? And I gotta be honest, it is kind of disappointing doing all of this, man. Yet these narratives are still gonna be thrown around. How many narratives have I killed on just my channel? And I'm not the only one doing this.
You know, try to teach them the finer points of the game. Share my wisdom. But do they listen? They damn sure don't learn.
His one defensive MVP was laughable and was a marketing ploy by David Stern to prop him up after Magic and Bird declined.
So now Magic and Bird were declining in 88? That's not moving the goalpost. That's relocating the entire stadium. I don't need to tell you guys how great Bird and Magic were in 88.
He was a guy who was a volume shooter, who team never won anything, but he was exciting, so the commissioner them kept propping him up. Right? He won MVP and defensive MVP in the same year, right? But he was still young at the time. He was very young at the time, so he obviously wasn't the most valuable defensive player in the league at that time. Wasn't even close. His team wasn't even close to one of the top defensive teams in the league at that time. So how can you be the most valuable defensive player on a team that was not a particularly good defense? Thank you. So,
you lying ass.
If that's you showing receipts, you would go to prison for fraud. The Bulls that year literally allowed the least points per game that year. And they were also third in defensive rating. Just for reference, when Alvin Robertson won his DPOY, his team was ranked 17th in points allowed and defensive rating. And he was also on the second team all defense. So was the league trying to prop up Alvin Robertson?
and his offensive output, get this, outside Dominic Wilkins, who was second, who was him and Dominique were propped up at the time because they were trying to prop them up as, you know, the new wave of the future, dunking and all this, that, and third. So Dominique Wilkins was close to him. I think he had like 90 more shots than Dominique. But the next person down, Michael Jordan shot 300 more shots than the next person on the list.
First off, MJ only shot 30 more times than Dominique, but whatever. But outside of Wilkins, yes, MJ shot way more than everybody. Hell, MJ shoots more than everybody 9 times out of his career? But specifically 1988. Can we really be mad at MJ if he's shooting 53.5%? That's like Michael Vick completing 70% of his passes. An extremely high volume shooter, but he's efficient. If you look at the top 25 most shot chuckers that year, outside of only Charles Barkley, MJ had a higher field goal percentage than everybody else while shooting way more. He had a better percentage than Hakeem. This is Hair Jordan. That is scary, bro. To me, that is very impressive. But that's just that one season. So with his entire Bulls career, just the Bulls, he's shooting over 50%. But he's also shooting the most shots 9 out of his 10 scoring titles. We're talking about an efficient killer.
As I just got through mentioning, compare his first MVP with Russell Westbrook. Their shots were nearly identical. And so were their teams. The teams around him in correlation to the defense, the amount of wins they got, almost identical. He was Russell Westbrook at the time, right?
No.
Jordan benefited from a culture Bird and Magic fostered. Jordan came along during a time where the first truly dominant white basketball player was in his prime.
Larry Bird is the first white man to dominate the league. So the logo, Mr. Clutch? No, not even in the discussion, huh? You have LeBron as the GOAT. I'm pretty sure his million finals appearances help you say that he's the GOAT. So Jerry West, who went to 9 of them, won finals MVP on the losing team. The only man to ever do that. He wouldn't count as a dominant white man? Even though Jerry West retired 218 years ago, he's still ranked number 5 all time in playoff points per game. Sounds pretty dominant to me. I might give him one more stupid take. Maybe.
10 seconds now showing on the clock. 8 seconds left to go on the clock. 7, 6, 5. DeBusschere shoots. Hit with 3 seconds to go. 2 seconds. 1 second. West throws it up. He makes it. West threw it up and makes it. Over half court.
Right, so break it down. Let's break it down, right? Let's compare some of the super teams of today with some of the super teams of then. Let's start out with the first super team, the Boston Celtics, right?
You're in dangerous grounds here, bub. I'd be very careful what comes out of your mouth next.
You had KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, right? Scottie Pippen may be the best defensive wing to ever play the game. Offensively, Paul Pierce cannot hold a candle to Scottie Pippen.
I've reached my limit. I can't take it anymore. I'm out.